Hola, amigos. Zambodi here, aka Moises. So, I decided to do a book review. Huzzah! Today's book review is on The Greats on Leadership. It smells good. It smells like a book. It's pretty good. I actually really like this. This is one of the best books that I've read in a really long time. So, I figured I would make a review. I have a very brief, short, but this is a more in-depth video. I'll try to not make it too long, but a little bit in depth. So I took some notes. But before I get into the notes, this book is about how to become a better leader, and I want to become a better leader, and I think this is a good book for anybody who's trying to become a better leader. It gives you some advice as to what to do, what to avoid, and what traps or pitfalls await for people who end up in leadership positions. And I think we should all strive to be good leaders, even if you're not, say, a manager. I think you can always be a leader in the groups of people that you're in, And that doesn't mean that you have to be, I mean, just like it says in the book, but you don't have to be the loudest, or you don't have to be the one telling everybody what to do. Being a leader is not necessarily bossing people around. Being a leader is being able to, in a sense, do what is needed to get things done, and um, being somebody that can hold their own and can inspire others, right? So, yeah, let's get into it. So, there's three main things that a leader does, and by the end of the book, it actually talks about a fourth one. But the first one is that a leader goes first. That means that when there's a catastrophe or a problem, generally people are going to be uncertain about what to do. They might be scared. Say there's like a fight that breaks out. What happens when fights break out? Usually, people don't want to interfere because they might get hurt. Uh, a leader, even though he's afraid, even though he may be afraid, he or she, right? Even though they might be afraid, they go anyways, and they're one of the first ones to go in to put themselves in somewhat danger, um, because they want to resolve it, and they're willing to kind of put themselves on the line, right? The second thing is that a leader creates hope. When there's a problem and say people, I don't know, somebody dies or whatever it may be, there will be a sense of helplessness. There will be a sense of dread, of confusion, of fear, and the leader creates hope for people. It makes them want to believe in a better future, that things will get better. And third, they focus on people. Um, if I remember correctly, this means that not only are they focused on the goal, say a manager, right? They're not only focused on making more money, they're also focused on the people, as in individuals. They care about individuals being developed, developing their skills, developing their character, developing their virtues, helping them become better. So not only are they oriented on the goal, but they actually care about people. A leader is going to need to learn a little bit about politics, and politicking just basically means, as far as the book describes it, knowing what's going on, understanding the terrain, or understanding the culture behind where you're at, understanding how people perceive things, what mentalities they have, what they value, right? Understanding what people care about. Change and implementing new rules is one of the most difficult things as a leader, because people will always fight it. And so you have to be very careful. And it's very easy for people to hate you, for people to fight back, and for you to be kind of have your head chopped off, essentially. Now, I thought the book had an interesting philosophy on justice. It says that people want to be judged differently, and everybody has their own sense of justice. It recommends judging people on how they want to be judged. And basically, it says that two people can commit, say, a crime, but the circumstances are different, the reasons are different, and so you almost have to judge, even if the crime may be the same, judge people based on their own circumstances, what they're going through, why they did it, right? It's kind of a case by case type of thing. Um, when you're giving power, leaders that give power, there's three types of power that you can get. It's like authoritative, which is, say you get a position, right? Like you become the king or the president, right? You have power because of your position. You're the president. Uh, and then there's people that don't have the authority or the label, but they have power even without the title because of their competence. And ideally, you want to be in the middle, which is have the competence, have the power, but also have the authority. A good leader should work on their character. The character is the muscle that backs up effective execution. The 5 character traits are courage, integrity, resilience, generosity, and concern. There is a balance and 2 extremes on each one. For example, the 2 extremes of courage are timidity, where it's like when you're way too afraid to do anything, and then there's boldness, which is you're so confident that you become reckless. And all 5 of these have their extremes, and so a good leader finds the balance between the 2 extremes. I like this point. I think this one's really cool. It says that sometimes people mix problems and dilemmas. Problems have a solution. Dilemmas are where there's 2 options, or I guess multiple options, but 2 options, and they both have negative results and positive results, and they both have their own criteria. So with dilemmas, you want to maximize the positives and minimize the negatives. And with problems, you just want to find the solution and get it over with. This is also interesting. This is also kind of a misconception. It talks about motivating people, and it says that ideally, people tend to think that a way to motivate a team or motivate people is through carrot and sticks, as in you get this reward, or otherwise we're going to punish you, but that people usually work differently. One of the points is clarity, that they understand the goals, the policies, and their job description. Second one is standards, that they understand what the standards are for performance, which I guess is kind of like clarity, right? The third one is commitment, how strongly they're dedicated to achieving the goals. And the other one is responsibility. Oh, I guess there's more. Responsibility, how accountable they feel, support, the level of trust, and recognition. I think the recognition is pretty big. On me personally, I love when I do something and it gets recognized. I hate it when I go out of my way to do something and nobody cares. So I think as a leader or as just a person in general, when you want to see more behavior from somebody, when they do that behavior, you can at least recognize that they did it and be like, yo, that was cool. You did a great job with that. It talks about the MBTI personality test, and it just basically says that even though these tests aren't perfect, it's very important to understand that different people have different personalities, different ways of perceiving the world, and it's important to understand that that doesn't necessarily make them better or worse. It's just different people have different ways of being, you know? Some are more introverted, some are more extroverted, some prioritize, their thinking or their logic, some prioritize more of a feeling, more empathy, some perceive more, some are more judgmental. It's kind of like a balancing thing. And then the final point, as I said, there's the 3 main things that a good leader does, right? They go first, they create hope, and they focus on people, and at the end it covers a 4th one, which is that it's kind of hard to describe. They refer to them as a mainspring. And the mainspring, as I understand, is a part in a watch that is invisible, but it keeps everything running. And essentially, what it's trying to say is that the best leaders are servants, and they don't necessarily care for admiration. Sometimes people don't really know that they exist or the role that they play, but without them, everything falls apart. Essentially, they keep everything running. They are like the foundation between, say, a business or a family or a group friend or yeah, or whatever it may be. They're essentially that invisible part that holds everything together, and they do it selflessly. I think that's such a key aspect to it. Is that servitude? It says that the fourth level, the highest level of leadership, is essentially to become a servant, so to speak, to care about people, to become a servant to the cause. Of course, if you read the book, it goes more into depth. There's pretty good examples. I love that this book integrates storytelling. It integrates characters into every lesson that it provides. It's really cool. That's my favorite part about it. I love books that have a storytelling involved, that have characters. I love seeing different people's perceptions. Is that the right word? Perceptions. I love seeing different characters' point of views as they face different dilemmas or problems and how they go about it. So, yeah, this is a great book. I rated it a solid 9.5 out of 10. It's awesome. I recommend it. If you want to become a better person, if you want to grow, if you want to become a better leader, you should definitely check it out. The Greats on Leadership by Jocelyn Davis. And if you made it this far, well, just thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You're awesome. I always appreciate the support. And yeah, God bless you.